Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. Today is a video on my sponsor, Overlay Fantasy Sports, or OverlayDFS.com. So, are you guys tired of having to pick the perfect player at every single position in order to win on salary cap DFS? Are you tired of having your salary cap lineup out of the running to win any money just 5 minutes into the games? Does salary cap DFS feel like a job to you? Does it feel like it's not even fun and not even a game? Want a fantasy game where pros with a 150 lineup and computer generated programs can't dominate? OverlayDFS.com, OverlayDFS.com has a new revolutionary game, start/sit game for fantasy sports. They're home to the single entry GPP. So how do you play? You guys may want to know, how do I get into this, Nick? How am I going to play this game? So, simple start-sit format. There is about 5 things here that I have to tell you about. So you make 12 start-sit decisions from the 30 plus matchups that are going to be presented onto your screen, I should say, my bad. The second thing is it's a win, loss, or tie will be awarded to your overall record for each decision you make. Records in the top 10% of users win 9 times your buy-in. You heard that correctly, folks. 9 times your buy-in. The fourth thing, 12-0 records with win GTT progressive bonus. That huge bonus you see on your screen, 12-0 record, $2,746. That's what you're going to be winning if you go 12-0. Number 5, the final thing is all matchups are player versus player. Who will have more total fantasy points? Usually going 8-4 is good enough for cash. Sometimes 7-5 or 9-3, depending on the week. So you're going to be making 12 picks in the matchup options listed. For example, here are some examples here. Obviously, you're seeing some on your screen, but it could be like Lamar Jackson versus Dak Prescott, James White versus Sony Michel, and many, many, many more. The object is to stay consistent and finish in the top 10% of the field to win 9 times your buy-in until the stars align and you go that beautiful 12-0. So right now, if you go a perfect 12-0 in the $109 game, you will win the progressive bonus of over $26,000. They have buy-ins of all levels. If no one hits the perfect 12-0 record, the progressive bonus keeps growing and rolling over until it gets hit. It's the super contest, but for DFS. Don't get shut out. Visit www.overlaydfs.com today, down below in the description. So now we're going to get into my picks. So you can see on the screen, we have to make 12 picks plus 3 alternate picks. Now, guys, I am quite the genius here, guys. I'm like the fantasy football oracle, so we're obviously going to go 12-0 here. Obviously, these picks are going to go 12-0. I'm just kidding, guys. Not necessarily are they going to go 12-0, but I'm going to do my best to win the big bucks. Here, there's a bunch of matchups, but I'm just going to do the ones that I like. Personally, I think Aaron Rodgers over Carson Wentz is a very easy decision for tonight. I think that Carson Wentz is not going to have that great of a game. Alshon Jeffrey's still banged up. I think that Aaron Rodgers could have quite the game. Zach Ertz over Alshon Jeffrey is also an easy lock for me. Personally, I think that Alshon Jeffrey is still banged up and won't have all that great of a game. Here is another easy decision. Jamal Williams, the second string running back versus the second string wide receiver on the Packers. I personally think that MVS is going to have a monster game tonight. A very flex-worthy option in real fantasy football. Not real fantasy football, but I say your season-long leagues and this type of a thing. I think that Marquez Valdes-Scantling is going to have a big game. Now, down here, we see some other ones that are a bit more complicated, but I am going to go with one that I think is an easy pick as well. Myles Sanders over Jordan Howard. Now, I know you might be thinking, Nick, you're crazy. Jordan Howard seems to be getting more touches. Jordan Howard this, Jordan Howard that. Myles Sanders last week had a big game. I think he continued to have a pretty solid game up against Green Bay. He's a great pass catcher. I think he will get a lot of work tonight. Now, a bunch of these are a lot more complicated, except for this one. Matthew Stafford, quarterback of the Detroit Lions, going up against Kansas City, I think will outscore Case Keenum. We know at any point Case Keenum could get tugged from that game, get the tuggy out, sent straight out of that game, and I think that Mr. Case Keenum will not have... I think he has potential to have a big game, but if he gets pulled out for Dwayne Haskins after throwing maybe a pick or two, Matt Stafford should be an easy guarantee lock for this game. Now down here, as we scroll down a bit some of these decisions, in my opinion, are very easy. I'm going to go with Marlon Mack over T.Y. Hilton. Personally, I believe that Marlon Mack will be able to dominate against the Oakland Raiders. T.Y. Hilton has been playing good, but at the same time, T.Y. Hilton, he was bloodied on the sideline. He looks to be injured, and I think Marlon Mack is the safer option there. Now, Evan Ingram versus Derrick Henry. I think that at the end of the day, Derrick Henry will have more points up against Atlanta. It seems like you could run against Atlanta, and while I think Evan Ingram should have a good game, I think Derrick Henry will end up edging him out in points total scored. So we still have a bunch more games, a bunch more players to put onto this roster. Now, I'm going to go with Evan Ingram over Sterling Shepard. Now, I think both these guys are great starts in season long, but I think that Evan Ingram and Daniel Jones will have this great connection, and the ball will keep getting fed Evan Ingram's way. Now here, DJ Moore versus Scary Terry McLaurin. Now, a lot of people think that Scary Terry, I thought originally a few weeks ago that he wasn't going to be it. He has that it factor. Number 17 on the Washington Redskins is an amazing over DJ Moore this week. Now we have some other games down, or some other players, I should say, down here to pick. Calvin Ridley over Mohamed Sanu. Suckers are going to be taking Mohamed Sanu because they saw Calvin Ridley disappoint last week. Calvin Ridley will not disappoint 2 weeks in a row, and I can promise you that. Now here's another gimme, in my opinion. A lot of people will be in on AP. I think that Chris Thompson is going to be flourishing this week against the Giants. Now, a lot of people here may be on third leg Greg Olsen. Personally, I think that Mark Andrews is going to have a bounce-back game against Cleveland, and interdivision game should be a solid game for Mr. Mark Andrews. Now, let's see. We have completed it, but we do need 3 alternate picks. So, we are going to pick some of the more difficult ones here. I personally picked my 12 to be more easy. Now, down here, we're going to go with Chubb scoring more points than Mark Ingram in that matchup between Baltimore and Cleveland. I think Chubb is going to get force-fed the ball. Now here we have Julio Jones versus Davante Adams. Personally, I think that Davante Adams is going to have a bounce-back game, but Julio against Tennessee should be a good matchup for him. Now, our final alternate pick, we are going to get a bit ballsy. I think Sammy Watkins is an excellent start this week, but we're going to go with Demarcus Robinson over him. We're going to go with the fancy pick, and we're going to lock that in. All of our picks are right here. As you can see, you may want to pause the video if you want to see all the picks, but that's what we've made, and we're going to click that enter button. So we're going to join and pay for this. Boom, we have joined the contest successfully. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you ended up enjoying the video, if at any point you ended up chuckling, check out OverlayDFS.com. We can play all together next week. Have a great time. Even this week, we can all play together. Have a great time. Let's do some DFS together. Let's have a great time. Shout out to OverlayDFS.com. They are very kind to me, and they are going to be very kind to us all because we are all going to eat some W's and win some money. I love each and every single one of you guys who watch all of my videos. Click that subscribe button. Goodbye.